the question that changed everything. It started with a laugh, the kind that cuts deeper than anyone intends. We were sitting in our favorite cafe, a small cozy place tucked away on a corner street, where the walls were painted with murals of flowers and the scent of roasted coffee beans filled the air. The chatter of other students and the clinking of cups made a gentle background noise. I was with my usual circle of friends, talking about classes, relationships, and the small dramas that filled our lives. The conversation had drifted to love and dating. One friend was gushing about a new boyfriend, another complained about her ex, and everyone was caught up in stories about heartbreaks and crushes. I was listening, smiling politely, sipping my latte, when suddenly Alina, my best friend since high school, tilted her head, gave me that mischievous grin of hers, and asked, "Now you like men?" Her tone was teasing, playful, the way she always was. The group burst into laughter, and I tried to laugh with them, but my throat tightened. The question seemed harmless on the surface, just another joke tossed across the table, but for me it wasn't. For me, it was a reminder of the secret I had been carrying for so long. Because the truth was, I didn't like men. Not in the way everyone thought I should. I had tried, of course. I went on dates with guys, let them hold my hand, listened to them talk about football or music or their dreams, but I never felt that spark people described. I thought something was wrong with me for not feeling it. I thought if I just gave it more time, maybe I would. But the spark never came. And with Alina, it was different. It had always been different. The way she looked at me when she laughed, her dark eyes lighting up in a way that made my chest ache. The way her hand brushed mine when she leaned closer, sending warmth through me that I couldn't explain. The way she noticed the smallest things about me. When I was tired, when I was upset, when I needed silence instead of words. Around her, I didn't feel like I was pretending. Around her, I felt alive. So when she asked that question, it wasn't just a joke. It was a crack in the wall I had built around myself. It echoed in my head long after the laughter faded. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about her. My heart raced at the memory of her smile, the teasing tone of her voice, the way she had looked right into my eyes when she said it. I told myself I was imagining things, that I was reading too much into it. But deep down, I knew better. Because it wasn't just the question. It was her asking it. And maybe, just maybe, she already knew the answer. The restless night. Sleep didn't come easily after that evening. I tossed and turned under the sheets, staring at the ceiling, replaying the cafe scene like a movie I couldn't pause. Alina's voice rang in my head, her words dripping with both innocence and implication. "Now you like men?" I knew it was meant as a joke. She teased everyone, her way of keeping conversations lively, but why did it feel like there was something hidden behind her question? The way her eyes lingered on mine, just a second too long, made me wonder if she was testing me. Did she know? Had she sensed the feelings I had buried so carefully? I pressed my pillow over my face, muffling a groan. I couldn't risk ruining our friendship. Alina was not just anyone, she was my anchor, my safe space. From high school nights spent whispering secrets under the stars to college mornings spent running late to class together, she had been part of my every chapter. To lose her because of feelings I wasn't even sure she could return, it terrified me. And yet, the thought of her smile made my chest ache in the sweetest way. I remembered the time last summer when we had gone swimming at the lake. She had splashed water at me, laughing until her cheeks flushed, and then swam close, brushing her wet hair back as drops glistened on her skin. I remembered staring too long, feeling the world blur around me. I told myself it was admiration, friendship, harmless. But my body had told me otherwise. The truth was undeniable, I wanted her in a way I had never wanted anyone else. I sat up, hugging my knees to my chest. The room felt heavy with silence, broken only by the ticking of the clock. My phone lit up on the bedside table, and my heart skipped when I saw her name. "Alina, you okay? You were quiet tonight." My fingers hovered over the screen. What could I say? I'm fine, just hiding the fact that I'm hopelessly in love with you. Instead, I typed the safer lie. Me, yeah, just tired. Long day. Her reply came almost instantly. Alina, don't overthink what I said, okay? I was just messing with you. My throat tightened. She knew me too well. Even in the dark, she could read me like an open book. I stared at her message, wondering what it meant. Was she covering her own tracks? Or was she genuinely afraid she had pushed too far? I didn't reply right away. Instead, I lay back down, clutching my phone to my chest. My heart raced with questions I didn't have the courage to ask. But as I drifted into restless half-sleep, one thought burned brighter than all the others. If she had asked me seriously, if she had looked into my eyes and waited for an answer, would I have told her the truth? I wasn't sure. But I wanted to. The confession I almost made. The following weekend, we went out for coffee again, just the two of us this time. The others were busy, and honestly, I was glad. Being alone with Alina felt both dangerous and safe at the same time, like walking on the edge of a cliff but knowing she would catch me if I slipped. We sat by the window, the golden afternoon sun painting her skin in soft light. She was telling me about her classes, complaining about her professor's impossible assignments, and I found myself barely listening. My eyes traced the curve of her lips as she spoke, the way her fingers tapped against her cup, the little details that had become my favorite distractions. You're staring, she teased suddenly, snapping me out of my trance. I flushed. Sorry, I was just thinking too much, she finished for me, raising an eyebrow. I laughed nervously, trying to hide how close she had come to the truth. But then her expression softened. You've been different lately. Distant, but closer too, if that makes sense. My chest tightened. Closer? She nodded. Like there's something between us you're not saying. Her words stole the air from my lungs. The cafe around us blurred, and all I could see was her, the curve of her smile, the depth in her eyes. I wanted to blurt it out, to tell her everything, to confess the truth I had been swallowing for years. Alina, it's you. It's always been you. But the fear held me back. The fear of losing her, of shattering the one thing that mattered most. So instead, I forced a smile and said, maybe you just know me too well. She studied me for a long time as if waiting for more. When I didn't continue, she sighed softly and leaned back. Yeah. Maybe. The conversation drifted to safer topics, but the tension lingered, unspoken yet heavy. Later, when we walked back to my apartment, her hand brushed against mine. For a second, I thought she might take it, hold it, but she didn't. She just let her fingers linger long enough to make my heart ache. That night, I stared at my ceiling again, replaying every second. I had almost said it. I had almost set myself free. And for the first time, I realized something, I couldn't keep it hidden much longer. Part 5, Lines Blurring. The shift between us only grew stronger after that. We started spending even more time together, and everything felt charged with a quiet intensity. When she leaned close to show me something on her phone, her hair brushed against my face, and I had to fight the urge to bury my nose in it. When we laughed together, her hand lingered on my knee a little longer than necessary. When she hugged me goodbye, her arms wrapped tighter, her warmth sinking into my skin. One evening, we ordered takeout and ended up watching a movie on my couch again. Halfway through, she stretched and lay across me, her head resting comfortably on my lap. My fingers itched to brush her hair back, and after a moment's hesitation, I gave in. The breaking point. The night it all changed started like any other. She came over after a long day, dropped her bag by the door, and collapsed on my bed with a dramatic sigh. I'm exhausted, she groaned. I laughed, sitting beside her. Want me to order food? She shook her head. No, I just want to stay here. With you. The way she said it made my heart race. She looked up at me, her hair fanned across my pillow, her lips curved in the softest smile. Something inside me snapped, the years of silence, the fear, the restraint. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I leaned closer, my voice trembling. Alina, can I tell you something? Her eyes lit up. Of course. I swallowed hard, my palms sweating. I think I'm in love with you. For a moment, silence filled the room. My heart pounded so loud I thought it might drown me. But then she sat up, her eyes wide, and whispered, finally. Before I could even react, her hand cupped my cheek, and her lips met mine. Soft, tentative at first, then deeper, warmer, filled with all the feelings we had both been holding back. The world disappeared, the only thing real was her mouth against mine, her hand in my hair, her breath mingling with mine. When we finally pulled back, gasping, she smiled. You think I didn't know? I was just waiting for you to say it. Tears stung my eyes, but I laughed, overwhelmed with relief and joy. So, now you like men? I teased, echoing her words. She shook her head, pressing her forehead to mine. No. I like you. Lines blurring. The shift between us only grew stronger after that. We started spending even more time together, and everything felt charged with a quiet intensity. When she leaned close to show me something on her phone, her hair brushed against my face, and I had to fight the urge to bury my nose in it. When we laughed together, her hand lingered on my knee a little longer than necessary. When she hugged me goodbye, her arms wrapped tighter, her warmth sinking into my skin. One evening, we ordered takeout and ended up watching a movie on my couch again. Halfway through, she stretched and lay across me, her head resting comfortably on my lap. My fingers itched to brush her hair back, and after a moment's hesitation, I gave in. The softness of her hair between my fingers sent a shiver through me. She didn't move away. In fact, she sighed, closing her eyes as if she had been waiting for me to do it. Feels nice, she murmured. My chest burned with longing. Good, I whispered, barely audible. We stayed like that for a long time, her breathing soft, her hand resting near my thigh, her presence filling every corner of me. It was the closest I had ever felt to happiness, and yet the weight of what I hadn't said pressed down harder than ever. At one point, she tilted her head, opening her eyes to look at me. You ever think about us? The question hit me like lightning. My hand froze in her hair. What do you mean? She smiled faintly, as if testing me. I don't know. Just us. More than this. My heart nearly leapt out of my chest. Every part of me screamed to say yes, to confess that I thought about us all the time, that she was in every dream, every heartbeat. But fear clamped my throat shut. Instead, I forced a laugh. You ask weird questions. She laughed too, but her eyes searched mine for something I couldn't give her yet. And in that moment, I realized the line between friendship and something more wasn't just blurring. It was already gone. Love without fear. From that night on, everything changed, and yet, it also felt like nothing changed at all. We were still us, laughing at dumb jokes, staying up too late talking about nothing, sharing coffee in the mornings, but now there were kisses between conversations, her hand finding mine without hesitation, her body curling against me when the nights grew cold. The fear that had once consumed me melted away. I didn't care who knew, didn't care what questions people asked. The only thing that mattered was her, and the way she looked at me like I was the only person in the world. One afternoon, sitting in the same cafe where it had all begun, she reached across the table, lacing her fingers with mine. You remember the day I asked you that question, she said, her eyes twinkling. I laughed. How could I forget? She squeezed my hand. I wasn't really asking if you liked men. I was asking if you liked me. And I'm glad I finally got my answer. I smiled, leaning closer. I think you've always had my answer. And when she kissed me, right there in front of everyone, I knew the truth. I had spent so long hiding, but love had always been waiting for me, right in front of me, in the form of the girl who once asked a question that changed everything. The answer was always you. Months had passed since that night, and yet every moment with Alina still felt new, electric, and alive. Love had a way of making even the ordinary feel extraordinary. A simple grocery run became an adventure because she insisted on buying snacks we didn't need. Studying together felt less like work and more like laughter mixed with whispered kisses between pages of textbooks. Even silence felt meaningful, because her presence was enough. But the real difference was in me. I was no longer afraid. For so long, I had lived in the shadows of what I thought I was supposed to be, trying to mold myself into someone I could never become. Men had never been the answer, no matter how hard I tried to convince myself. The answer had always been right there, in the girl who made me feel seen, safe, and wanted. One evening, as we walked through the city, hand in hand, we passed by a group of our friends sitting outside the cafe. They waved us over, and we joined them. The conversation turned, as it often did, to relationships. One of our friends leaned in, smiling slyly. "So, Alina, what's it like dating her?" "I never thought I'd see the day." Alina laughed, squeezing my hand under the table. "It's perfect," she said simply, glancing at me with a look that melted me from the inside out. And then, one of the girls, the same one who had laughed months ago when Alina asked me that infamous question, smirked and said, "So, I guess the answer is no then? You don't like men?" For the first time, I didn't flinch. I didn't freeze or shrink into myself. Instead, I looked straight at her, a smile tugging at my lips. "No," I said confidently. "I don't. I like her." The table erupted into playful laughter, and a few of our friends cheered. But the only reaction that mattered was Alina's. She leaned in and kissed me softly, right there in front of everyone, her lips brushing mine like a promise. Later that night, lying in her arms, I thought back to the girl I used to be, the one who lay awake, afraid of her own truth, terrified of losing the one person who mattered most. That girl would never have believed how free I felt now. "Do you regret anything?" I whispered, my head resting against Alina's chest. She tilted her head down to look at me, her smile gentle. "Only that it took us so long. But maybe we needed the time. Maybe we needed that question." Her words wrapped around me like a warm blanket. She was right. It had started with one simple, teasing question, "Now you like men," but it had opened the door to the truest answer I had ever found. I kissed her softly, whispering against her lips, "No, I don't like men. I love you." And in her arms, I finally knew, this wasn't just love. This was home.